Ghostrunners fans, it is a great Monday. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This is going to be a very different episode. First episode ever without Brad Ellis. There's been times where I wasn't able to make it, but Brad has always been able to make it until this episode. I have been in Australia for what feels like 14 years. And so it's been hard to get all these episodes done. But I am joined today by my lovely wife, Rachel Coop Triplet.
Hello.
And yeah, this should be fun. We really haven't gone over a plan for what this episode is going to be, but we've traveled so much. We have so many stories. We're going to talk to you guys about that. And hopefully it's still fun and entertaining. I do think it'll be a little different because typically the podcast, it's like, you know, me telling Brad a story he hasn't heard, Brad telling me a story I haven't heard about our weeks, where this is like, we both have spent every second together. We know everything we're about to say. So it's me and you telling the audience things they've never heard.
I'm not Brad.
And also, you're not Brad. Yeah, different chromosomes. So there's a lot to talk about. I think, first off, we want to share just like how are the shows? You know, we've done a few at this point. We're coming to you. It is 10:30 at night in Melbourne, Australia, which, quick subtraction, what does that mean for Central Time Zone?
-5:30 a.m. Wednesday in Kansas City.
Yes. Yeah, being in Australia, the whole thing is just subtraction. That's all you do when you're in Australia. You just subtract constantly. Like, I should text it. Well, what time is it? But the shows, I feel like Perth was a very interesting one. Brisbane was a very interesting one because we did it in a tent. But there was something else very interesting about that. Something that I've never, ever done on stage. Rachel, would you like to give them would you like to redo it?
Absolutely. I was in the audience. I was able to see it all.
Rachel's like, I'm not going to sit side stage. I'm going to be in the audience for this one.
I'm going to record. So you just want me to say the joke like I'm you?
Yeah. Whatever you want to do. Just yeah.
All right. So I wanted to propose to my girlfriend. So I Googled it and it said, sneak into her house at night and stand on her bed. And she wakes up and you're doing arts and crafts. And then she's going to be like, I'm going to be like, don't make me use the string method. And she's going to be like, oh, no, wait. You guys haven't heard that part. You haven't heard the part. Rewind.
You got like 30% of it right, but I got
the main part right.
I think this tight beat means that it's going down with some random thoughts and white meat too. Midwest best friends eating fast food on repeat. So come along, let's have some fun and go ahead, get on your feet, cause it's the Ghostrunners podcast. Every Monday morning we're taking back Ghostrunners podcast.
That was great.
I think you did a noise that I might be hoping that you did, but maybe in my mind I was like that's a rewind.
Jim in the office when he realizes he messed up, he's like, yeah. So I like jumped ahead, I just skipped over like 2 minutes of my set, and there's immediate like callback to it, and in the middle of the callback, and then Rachel was like, hold on, wait, you guys don't know about that? Okay, all right, we're gonna back up a little bit. Sorry about that. Hang on, guys. And then I just kind of kept going. And
you did a good job. Yeah, everybody was still laughing in the crowd. They might have thought that that's what you always do.
Yeah. Sometimes you have that. Like in my set now, I usually start off like, do we have any moms sitting up close? What's your name, mama? And I do that every time now. But that started off as an accident. I did it one time on accident. Got a huge laugh. And I was like, I guess I'll do that every time now.
Oh, yeah.
And
they always laugh.
They always laugh. I'll tell you, they don't always laugh in Australia.
Not always.
Just because they laugh in America, they do not always laugh in Australia.
Not even a heavy breathe out laugh, like a...
Yeah, I don't know where we want to start. I guess we're talking about the shows. Let's start there. I mean, there's truly so much to talk about. I mean, Rachel and I have been gone. We haven't slept in our bed in Kansas City in, I think, over 3 weeks now. So we've just been traveling. We went straight from Iowa to Hawaii to 3 different time zones just in Australia. We've got a 4th one here in a few days. So it's been a lot. But the shows, so first show in Perth, we have no idea what to expect. There's no opener before me. There's nothing else. It is just, I'm the first one out there. And in the first 5 seconds, I knew this was going to be different than anything we've ever done. Could you feel it? Could you tell? Like, how early on were you like, he's probably not having a good time up there?
You know, because I was standing in the audience a little bit again. No, I wasn't. On that one, I think I was listening like it was a podcast. I think the curtains were covering you. So it was only ears.
This is an audiobook.
So when I heard the laughs, I really heard the laughs. It was sort of like I was blind. Like, like your other senses are turned up more.
And did you have anything in your mouth?
Yes, a Werther's, like we always do.
I was going to say, I was like, well, maybe you were down to 3 senses, so your hearing was really good. But no, we did pick up some Werther's originals.
No, because when you came off stage, I was like, good job, that sounded fun. And then both you and Trey afterwards, like, that was terrible.
Yeah, I feel like it was just different. And I was definitely trying to be a good teammate to Trey. He's like, how was it? And I was like, it's not bad. I think it's fun because it's different. It's fun. It's like a comedy. It's like the good old days.
It's a little challenge.
and Trey afterwards was like, that's a good friend right there, because that was the worst hour of Trey's like comedy career. I think just unfortunately for Trey, more of his material doesn't translate to Australia. He has 10 minutes on American wedding culture. I mean, from thank you notes, which they 100% just don't even do thank you notes in Australia.
Yeah, our friend said she cannot buy them at stores in Australia.
Yeah, so he had a tough time that first Perth show, and I did too. It was just, so like I said, 5 seconds into it, I just knew. I was like, oh, what are we in for tonight? What are we in for the next 2 weeks? So I think I just asked, like, very, I think first, like, Perth, how we doing? Wasn't a huge reaction. I was like, that's fine. It's Wednesday. Maybe it'll take a while to warm up. They don't know who I am. But then about 10 seconds later, I was like, we have any moms in the audience tonight? And no one made any noise. Just a few of them raised their hands. I was like, this is very respectful. Thank you for raising your hands. And it wasn't because there weren't any moms in the audience. It was full of moms. It was a normal crowd for us. They just raised their hands. And Rachel has noticed since then. So there's multiple times in my set where I will ask if people are in the audience. And no one ever responds.
Nobody does.
But Rachel was in the audience last show, and she's like, I think people are responding quietly.
Yes, they'll raise their hand. You'll be like, any picky eaters? And people just raise their hand. And Jake doesn't see it, so he'll be like, all right, no picky eaters. And then I'll see a husband point to the wife and be like, she's a picky eater. So still, you can't tell. So they're just so polite.
They are so nice here.
Oh, the nicest people.
They're so nice. Every city is so nice. There's no one is poor or homeless in Australia.
The only homeless person that we've seen sat right next to me on the bench, and he was lovely.
Yeah, I mean, just like, so right now we're in Melbourne. This is the biggest city in Australia, I'm pretty sure. It's got 5-point-something million people. It feels like New York City. And there's no homeless people. I mean, it is, I don't know what they've done here or where they're keeping them or what's going on, but it is so great everywhere in Australia.
You feel very safe.
Yeah, you do feel very safe.
Not that homeless people are necessarily dangerous to people, but you do feel safe here.
Here comes the social work.
Okay? Want to make that clear.
That's funny. When we did Correct Opinions, we were talking about how our hotel is in Chinatown, Trey and Katie's Airbnb is in Koreatown. And then Katie was like, well, I think we just need to like get out of here a little more. And we're like, why do you think we need to get out of here? Why do you think we need to escape China and Koreatown? But all right, let's try and start. You've been doing a good job keeping notes. I have like 0 podcast notes. I was like, oh, we'll remember it all.
I've got daily notes.
Yeah, which is dumb of me. It's like this is my first podcast ever. But I think we should start what we kind of teased with the Brad and TJ and Jefferson Bethke episode is the drive to the airport.
Oh, okay.
What started it all?
Charlie.
I'll just intro it and then you can take it from here. So for whatever reason, and I did put some of this on my Instagram story, but you can't schedule an Uber XL or a Lyft XL. We had so much luggage that we couldn't get a normal Uber, a normal Lyft, and I didn't want to take a chance. We needed a ride at 3:15. So I was like, I don't know the Uber situation in Shawnee, Kansas. I would rather just like pay whatever we need to pay to like get a ride scheduled. We know we have it getting to the airport. This is an international flight. This is a big deal. Yes, we could have had friends drive us at 3:15. 2 people pleasers? No way.
Not going to happen.
Yes. I'm so used to Brad like interjecting at every pause that I'm like, go for it if you need to.
I've been trained to listen.
No, that's good. And that's not a dig on Brad. I think we have a good like rapport. We just know when the other person is going to like have something to say.
I also was spacing out. Because I just looked at my notes. I just looked at my notes and it reminded me of some things about the plane.
Gotta be honest, wasn't listening to a word.
3:15, yeah, we're not going to have a friend drive us.
And we also didn't want to park at the airport because even though I could get that reimbursed, it was just like, I don't know, 3 weeks worth of parking.
It was going to cost everything you got paid here.
Well, I'm saying even if I would have got it reimbursed, I just would have felt bad.
Yes,
like
I see.
to I don't know,
Bad
ask Trey to
listening
pay for that. So I found a taxi service, which you're probably wondering, how are those still in business? Well,
Shouldn't be.
they must do a good job. That must be why they're still in business.
Must be a really good driver.
He confirmed a couple times on the phone. Now, do you guys have luggage? Yes, we have. This is the whole reason we're doing this is we can't get an XL Uber. We can't get an SUV.
I think you said month-long trip.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we have luggage.
We have a month-long trip ahead of us. We have a ton of luggage. And it's really not a ton. We each just have a large suitcase.
And you know what? At the time, we really appreciated this man's urgency. He'd call you right back. He'd get right to the point
We
on the
were
phone.
wheeling and dealing.
Like, this is good businessman. he doesn't add anything else in there.
That's right. There
He
were
just does his job.
no frills on the phone.
We were very
When you need it.
complimentary.
Where are you going? What time? Address. And not even full
Luggage.
sentences. Yeah, I was like, this is great. Or it's a whole phone call, 2 minutes. And then 3:15 arrives. Rachel just go crazy.
3:15 arrives. Jake needs to grab one more thing, so I head on out by myself. And
What's the weather like?
Oh, the weather. I'm dragging my suitcase through snow, probably up to our ankles.
Yeah, the first big snow of Kansas City of the winter.
But, we're thinking, okay, a big taxi is going to be there. So we'll be in like this big car that'll be safe to drive to the airport, 40 minutes.
And it wasn't really an ice storm. Like, I don't know if the roads were really bad. It was just like, the first snow in the Midwest.
Yeah. Charlie is 14 feet from his car, not near the trunk, because he didn't expect us to have luggage. So he was pretty shocked to see my heavy bag right next to his 1980,
I believe it was 1994.
1994 Grand Marquis.
Yeah. Look up what a 1994 Grand Marquis looks like.
Diamond should put a picture in of this, of the exact screenshot we have of it.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It
It's old.
It was.
It's
I don't
a
know what
sedan.
emotions I felt seeing it, knowing I was going to be in the snow on the way to the airport in it. But then he was telling us. Then Jake joined us out there, and Charlie, our driver, was like, "Oh, I don't think that's going to fit. I didn't know you were bringing luggage."
Yeah, he's like, well, this is gonna have a tough time fitting all this.
And then Jake, you said something like,
I started to say something, and not like sassy, but just like logical. It's just like, we told you on the phone we had, and Rachel's like, hey.
"Yeah." I was like, "Hey, hold it together.
This is when Rachel
Keep it down."
liked Charlie.
I did.
Charlie was still on
sticking up
Rachel's
for him.
good side.
It's like, hey, our lives are in his hands for the next hour.
I told you we had luggage. We're going to the we're going to the airport. You didn't think we'd have luggage? Why is this a surprise to you?
It just wasn't a pleasant 3:15 a.m. conversation. So yeah, I got in the car. Charlie blasted the 80s rock.
Oh yeah, 101 The Fox. We're gonna be right back with "Carry On, My Wayward Son" by Kansas. But real quick, here's "Paradise City" by Guns N' Roses. Da-da-da-da-da, and whatever. And so we're just blasting classic rock from 101 The Fox the whole ride. Something I wrote down because I didn't want to forget. 5 minutes into the ride, we were further away from the airport than when we started.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie was taking an itching route. There's no cell phone propped up. There's no maps. All up here. Big brain Charlie.
Yep.
It's just like, I know.
Yep.
I know. So we
Which
were
makes me wonder,
further.
how did he get to our house?
Yeah, it's true.
Not
But
a busy street.
he had a paper map pulled up and he put it away
Yeah,
before he pulled
MapQuest.
in. So yeah, 5 minutes in, we are further away and we are not in a hurry. We are going so slow. 2 different times in the first 10 minutes, he mentioned, hey, and the first time he mentioned it, I appreciated it. 'Cause
Yes.
He's like, you know what? It's snowing. A lot of these guys out here, they like to drive like a bat out of you know what. But me, I'm not going to do that. And so, hey, thank you.
Awesome.
I appreciate that. That's something I really value.
Yes.
Thank you. And then when we were going 30 and a 60 and he said it again, man, these guys are driving like a bat out of you know what. I was like, I wouldn't mind if you took a trip down and you know what. Let's get to the airport, dude.
Yeah, it was a very slow drive. It was a dangerously slow drive, even because the roads had been plowed by then, so they weren't very snowy.
We got passed one time by a snow plow actively plowing snow.
Yep. So the windshield got covered.
They were going faster than we were.
Yep.
And you want to, this is going to be a visual joke here. You
Yes,
guys are going to
you
need to come
need
to
to
YouTube.
watch this.
But Rachel, you should act out how Charlie activates his blinker.
Okay, do you want to hold my microphone for me? So, we're not changing lanes often, but when we do, you just put your hand on the blinker and then you're fine.
Normally your left hand doesn't even really leave the wheel.
But it's like when you let like the 2-year-old sit in the front seat and fake drive when the car is just in the driveway and they just whip the steering wheel like this, but Charlie would just for 0.3 seconds flip the blinker down, lose control of the car, and then have to gain control again.
I mean, he's like rocking back in his seat.
It was a full body chore to put the blinker on. And it happened like 5 times.
Enough times where we both saw it and acknowledged it and knew we got to talk about Charlie's blinkering.
It was so scary.
Why does, like, when he has to recover from going from blinker back to steering wheel, he has to readjust the whole car and turn it and spin it.
And that marquee was shaking.
Yeah, it was scary a little bit. I mean,
It really was.
It went from like a little scary of how slow we're driving, we're getting passed by people going twice our speed, and we're in the snow, and he's losing control of the car. I was praying like a madman. I actually remember praying, and I feel like God told me to like talk to Charlie, like keep him awake. And I might have misread God on that one. Charlie didn't want to talk.
Charlie did not want to talk.
But you never know. Maybe it did keep him awake. Who knows? But I was so mad at him. But I was like, I feel like I'm supposed to like keep him awake right now.
So when you were talking to him.
Oh, that's right.
You were very nice and complimentary.
I like sparked up a conversation because I was curious. I was like, what's your shift normally like? Because I was trying to figure out like, are you super tired right now?
Yeah.
Or do you normally have the graveyard shift? So I'm asking him about that.
So yeah, when you were being so nice to him, which you normally are, I was like, in my mind, I was like, okay, so Jake is not concerned about how this driving is going, and
Jake thinks Charlie's great.
I'm panicking back here. Jake is like proud that he ordered this ride, and so I was like, I can't say anything to Jake because he did organize this for us, and it was like basically our only option. So I really can't complain about it, but I'm scared for my life back here. I'm praying
so
quietly in the back while you're being friends with Charlie.
You thought I loved him.
I did. I wasn't going to say anything then.
Yeah, that's funny, but it was just. It was really, so it was dangerous at times. It was scary at times. But then it gets to a certain point where like, I feel like I gave us plenty of time for this flight, but I wasn't expecting it to take an hour to get there. And it did. It was like an hour, 5 minutes to get to the airport, and it's an international flight. Then we get to the airport and it's backed up like I've never seen. It was the day after Thanksgiving, I think.
Which we learned was the busiest flying day
in U.S.
in
history.
America.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a headline afterwards. So that kind of made sense. So it's just super backed up, and yeah, whatever. We don't need to complain too much more, but it was a very hectic time that morning.
A stressful beginning to the trip.
Yeah, we found out that Rachel's boarding pass, which was booked for her by someone else, she didn't have a TSA pre-check on it. We had to go through some stuff.
Yep.
But we made it, and we...
No, I think that was the 2 Australia flight. The 2 Hawaii flight, we had TSA, and we were very grateful because the line was so long for non-TSA.
You're right. I'm getting all this mixed up because this wasn't even an international flight.
Notes,
this was just to Hawaii. A little note taker, a little scribe.
Ken and Lynette was this flight.
Oh my gosh. All right. So this episode's going to start off a little complaining, but we've had a great time.
We've had a blast.
The first 2, like, just experiences traveling, first by car and then by plane, were just brutal and outliers. Yes. And we're very positive people, but Rachel, go off.
All right. Okay, so the Charlie flight, that was to Phoenix. Then we boarded another flight.
Oh, Charlie flight. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of, yeah. So then from Phoenix to Hawaii, it was like a 6-hour flight. And I got on the flight, and it was Southwest, so you just pick where you sit, basically on how you get to the flight, which we had to run to.
Yeah, remember that whole thing?
Yes. We were the last people we thought.
Because when we got to, so this is back in Kansas City, when we finally board the plane, and we cut it so close, we finally get on it, and then we sat on the tarmac for 2 hours. So it was like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't really need to rush, maybe. For whatever reason, then it became, oh man, once we got on that plane, we're like, we made it, we did it.
We're going to Hawaii.
Thank you, God. Thank you, Charlie. It doesn't even matter anymore. We're going to make it. And then we sat out there for 2 hours, like, we're not going to make it. And the next flight isn't for the next day, kind of a bummer or whatever. But then we learned they were going to hold the flight for us.
Mm-hmm. And Jake, you even had upgraded our seating to A so that we could be near the front. So
we could get to the layover, whatever.
And then we were supposed to have it on the Hawaii flight also. But since our flight landed like 30 minutes before our next flight took off, we had to just sprint to the gate. And I thought we were the last ones on the flight. So it was really nice. Our first flight, they let us be the first ones off the plane so that we could get our connecting flight.
That was nice.
That was very nice.
The people pleaser me, I don't want to be like, hey, excuse me, I have a
can I get ahead of you?
Connecting flight to get to. It was nice that they were like, hey, you, and you, get
that
up
was
here.
Great.
That was nice.
So yeah, we ran to that flight. We got on it. And then there were 2 seats near the back that were aisle seats, which there's normally not those open when you're the last ones on because people would rather have the aisle than the middle. So I called Jake back because he's already sitting in a middle seat. So I was like, hey, you should come back here. There's 2 aisle seats. So I told Jake to go further back because he was just going to sit by these 2 like teenage girls that looked normal and they were just going to have a nice flight. And then I was going to go next to this family with a baby because I figured I could tolerate that better than Jake. And so then I sat there and then I noticed that the row in front of me had a middle seat open. So I asked the parents if they wanted to have an open spot for their baby in their row rather than have me sit there. And they, of course, said yes. It's like, it's okay. I'll just go sit up in this middle seat in front of them, in between these 2 elderly people who will probably sleep the whole flight, and it'll be fine. So I did that. I sat in the middle between these 2, this older couple. And then I hear one guy who was on the first flight with us get up from his middle seat and take the aisle seat that I just gave up to that family. It's like, darn. Oh, well. But who I was sitting between was Ken and Lynette, and they actually were married. But they don't like to sit by each other on planes. So I got to sit in between them.
They were celebrating their 30-year anniversary.
30 or 40.
Yeah. But still keep a seat in the middle.
They keep a seat in the middle.
That's
so
the
I
secret.
know what they did to me, they do to every person on every flight.
Don't you have a whole note in your phone just
Yes,
about
I do.
Ken?
Right here.
Yeah.
Just about Ken. So Lynette was a nice lady. She just brought about 20 catalogs that she would take get 20% off your next order. She'd clip that out, put it in her little folder, and then throw the catalog away when the stewardess walked by.
What kind of catalogs are we talking here?
It would be
East Bay?
like, not East Bay for older women. Like, here's a
Better
new
Home and Garden.
Christmas necklace and brooch.
Okay. What are the names of these catalogs?
I
What are we reading?
couldn't see.
Nothing we've heard of.
But it was like just
Old lady
I
stuff.
mean, I sort of liked looking through it with her.
Okay.
Like, my grandma might like that. So yeah, Lynette was fine, very chatty, but that's okay. It was a long flight. I was willing to chat. Her husband Ken.
Keep talking. I'm going to make sure the phone's still recording.
Okay. Her husband Ken started as fine, but then he started screaming the word California to me and everybody else on the flight. So that was a little bit uncomfortable.
And that is, of course, combining which 2 words?
Communist in California.
Yeah. Big Trump guy.
Big Trump guy. And I think only because I said my dad farms did he automatically think that I was campaigning for Trump.
He's like, I farm in Iowa. Iowa caucuses.
Oh, you
know?
probably hate California too. So that was just weird to navigate. Oh man, I have a lot of just terms on here.
Yeah, go
Oh yeah,
off.
he refers to himself as handsome. And so then he was wanting me to call him handsome. And I never
How?
did.
Like, what did he say to...
You're going to see me in Hawaii and you're going to say, hey, there's handsome. And your husband's going to be so jealous. It's like, okay. That's a funny story that won't happen.
Like, wow, we got to make that happen. That's awesome, Kent. Handsome, sorry. Meanwhile, I'm having the time of my life in the
you
back
are.
row because these 2 teenage girls didn't talk, didn't make a noise, didn't move for 6 hours. And I had so much room. They're scrawny little girls. I had it made back
Lovely
there.
girls.
Yeah, it was great.
Would have had a blast with them. Okay, yeah. So Ken, pretty hard to talk to. Pretty hard for me to make eye contact with anyone else on the plane with because they think I'm talking about California. So after a while, I basically just had to close my eyes and try and sleep because if I had my phone out or my book out, they were going to talk to me. And it was fine for a while, but I got very uncomfortable with Ken after a while. Where I did not want to talk to him because he was being so just
Abrasive.
rude
just
and abrasive and inappropriate. And just
What's some of the subject matter? What's he talking about when he's being abrasive?
okay, so they would ask okay, so what are you in school for? And I'm like, counseling, got a semester left. And then he'd be like, my daughter's a psychologist in California, and she's always talking about, what was your childhood like? Oh, trauma. Just saying triggered words, I guess.
Jeez.
Just but in this awful tone, and he'd always bring it up to me and shame that I was doing that. He'd be like, so if there's a shooter, you're gonna
You don't want to take his guns away. You want to take his childhood away, don't you?
Yeah, you think there was something that went wrong in his childhood. And I was like, I mean, there's studies about stuff like that.
More than likely, yes.
There's a lot of, just.
It's so funny just to take a dump on someone's career right after they've told you about it. Like, you be Ken, I'll be normal.
Okay.
So yeah, I play professional basketball.
Oh, you think you're better than everyone because you're tall. Oh, you can dunk. Cool. Good luck doing that when you're my age. Exactly like that.
That's the Ken experience.
That is anything you say. At one point, he was like, I'm going to see you when we're both in Hawaii, and you're going to say, hey, handsome, I got sunburnt, and now I'm depressed, and I'm going to curl up into the fetal position. Like, just on and on and on.
You're like, cool, that's hilarious.
Right.
Every time you say it, it gets funnier, handsome. Keep going. Lynette, are you hearing this?
Every time I couldn't believe it. And yeah, it was just so crazy. And at first I was like, this is sort of funny. I wonder what words I can say that he will like turn against me. And he would do it. But then after a while I was like, I'm so annoyed with this. So I would close my eyes and like fake sleep. And I wasn't tired, so I couldn't actually fall asleep. So I just had to close my eyes for a while. And they would still talk to me.
That's the craziest part. Your eyes are clearly closed. You have AirPods in, and he's still like tapping you, like waking you up.
The worst one though, and then I'll quit complaining about him, but it really was terrible. He just started making this noise, this like wah, it's an awful noise, repeatedly to my ear, where I had to open my eyes and be like, what's going on? And he was like, Lynette and I just learned about that bird. This is a type of bird that lives in Hawaii. We learned about it the first time we came here. And now we just do that noise to each other every now and then. Isn't that funny? And then just like kept doing it to me and then went back.
That's so tough. I mean, one, to tell someone else the inside joke you have with your wife of 30 years. It's like, that's something I don't really need to be a part of. It sounds like you guys, cool. You guys,
you guys.
But also for you to do the loud inside joke between a stranger. I mean, that's just like psychotic behavior.
It is.
That's such a bummer. You had to deal with that.
It really is. Because, yeah. I like talking to people on planes.
Yeah.
I definitely would fall into that category, where I would maybe annoy people. And he annoyed me so much. It was just like, I'm offended by this person.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. It's like, you're just being so rude to me.
Yeah.
That was it. But then we made it, and it was lovely.
And then no sightings of Ken.
No sightings of
Once we got to
Ken.
Hawaii.
And I kept my eyes peeled.
Where's handsome? You doing the noise? What was the noise again? It's a beautiful inside joke. I don't know if Ken knows what an inside joke is. I mean, that's
no
good one. That's hilarious. All right, we're going to transition out from complaining to positive.
Sorry about that.
Best way to do it, Main Street Roasters. Truly, though, I mean, maybe even a mood booster in your own life.
Absolutely.
If you've been complaining too much, take a little shot of Main Street.
At least just smell the bag.
Smell the bag. S the B. Obviously, Christmas is coming up, but there's still time. Get somebody in your life, some Main Street Roasters. Get them a bag. Get them some beans. Get them some, what's it called when they're not beans? Grounds.
Good.
I was going to say grains. I don't think it's grains. But in Sydney or Australia today, you saw that they were advertising.
Grain-fed beef.
Yeah.
Instead of grass-fed beef. That was like...
They're just spinning it the opposite way.
Yeah. Yeah, they maybe said GRA.
Yeah,
you think it's grass?
It's just all marketing.
Yeah.
Non-free range chicken. These things were caged. Yeah. And they're like, oh, well, that seems better maybe. They got to be with their family.
Oh, good.
Anyway, MainStreetRoasters.com. Go check them out. Promo code is GRKC for 10% off. Go support, small town, Indiana, Christian values. Everyone's down to support local. Maybe if you don't live in Indiana, it's not really local to you, but it's still like local vibes.
Absolutely.
What would you call it?
There's no communist name to refer to Indiana with. I think that's a great state.
Yeah, you can't fit it in with communism. It doesn't work.
You can't have those two.
It's good for capitalism and democracy for you to support MainStreetRoasters.com. So check them out. All right. What do we want to talk about next? It's going to be no problem to fill 2 episodes with all this stuff,
great.
I feel like. I bet people are wondering about Thomas. Let's talk about Thomas.
Oh, sure.
Because we didn't really talk about that on Correct Opinions, which I was shocked by.
Which we'll just share information that is fine to share.
Yeah, nothing crazy. I
Right.
mean, there's nothing really crazy. I think it's impressive. So Trey and Katie brought their 9-month-old, and obviously dealing with a lot of jet lag, and babies are on such a rigid schedule. And Thomas is better adjusted than any of us.
Yes, he adjusted way better than any of us.
I mean, he hasn't thrown a tantrum. I haven't
No,
seen him
I've never seen him cry.
Yeah, he's doing amazing. He's constantly eating.
He's constantly eating, constantly smiling.
Yeah.
This kid is not real. This is the happiest baby I've ever come across.
It's giving me a false, like, kind of perspective on
It
what,
is. It's not
what
good.
parenting is.
It's not good.
So easy.
Yes.
He's
Like,
always smiling.
wow.
They took him across the world, and he's just up, no problem.
Yeah, we'll just in the plane just look up, and Trey's tossing him up in the air on the plane. Thomas is laughing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, he's great.
He is the sweetest baby ever.
And he comes everywhere with us, and it's just fun having him there. I have noticed, I don't know if you feel this way, I probably just feel weirder about it, but I found myself always trying to make faces for Thomas and smile at Thomas,
Yeah.
but I'm smiling at Katie so much.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
always holding Thomas.
Yep.
Like, we'll be in the middle of playing paddle, which let's talk about that soon. And I'll just look over and Thomas is smiling at me. So I'll like do a little face. And it's like, I mean, his face is 6 inches from
yes,
Katie's.
yes.
And it's like, I'm sure she obviously knows and she's used to it.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that's like, is this weird?
Every now and then, should you just glance up and make eye contact with her and be like,
But yeah, I've been making a lot of faces at Katie. Let's talk about paddle.
oh, paddle.
Padel.
It's the new pickleball.
I think it's more fun than pickleball.
You should start an Instagram page right now.
Friday paddle.
At least just get something.
Get-
You're always about getting the username.
Friday paddle. Yeah, it's so I'd heard of it. I'd seen it like posted before because it is a racket sport. It's very similar to tennis. It's very similar to racquetball. It's a good hybrid of the two. And so I'd seen viral clips of it. I'd heard of the sport. And it's really not crazy popular in Australia. I thought it was a much bigger deal, but they do have paddle courts here. There's almost none in the entire United States. So it's sad. We're trying to, we booked a 3-hour session tomorrow and we all can't wait.
We started at an hour and a half, played all the time, then 2 hours. Still wasn't enough time.
Not enough
now
time.
we're up to 3.
We got to do a 3-hour marathon tomorrow. It's just so fun. I mean, there's something about discovering a new sport and playing a new sport and just learning the ins and outs of it, learning like the strategy in real time. It's just, there's nothing like it.
And we're getting better.
Yeah. Like when we go to these courts and we watch other people, we're like, I don't think these people are better than we are.
Yeah.
Rachel and I, undefeated right now. It's pretty fun how it works out. Rachel and I will play against Alan, the keyboardist, and Trey. And so we just run those teams
Very
over and over.
even.
Yeah, and it's fun to have 4 athletic people here to be able to do that. And so, yeah, Rachel and I are undefeated so far.
Yep.
And, I know it bothers him.
I know.
So that's been pretty fun.
Especially because one game they really could have won. I hit it 20 feet out. But Trey really wanted to swing at it and barely nicked it. And
Before it
then
went out.
the next 8 points we scored, and that was for the whole game, not just that set.
Yeah, so we love the sport. We can't wait to play it tomorrow. And yeah, somebody's got to bring this to Kansas City
It's so fun.
because it does feel like pickleball in the sense that like once you play, you will be addicted to this.
Yes.
Like I haven't felt this since pickleball.
And it's not a ton of running like pickleball is. Like
Yeah, you only play doubles.
you're in a cage. So you
It's
can't-
not free range.
Can't go that far. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to doubles pickleball, I'd say. It's still a good workout. You're going to sweat, but it's not like insane cardio.
Yeah.
Man, rapid
It's
fun.
so fun. I'm
Yeah.
sore from it. The
Yeah.
top of that, we're working hard out there.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's
it's fun.
it's a thinking man's sport, I would say, because you kind of there's a little bit of punishment if you hit it too hard because there's walls. It can hit off the wall and then makes it easy for him. So it's a lot about angles. It's a lot about
Corners.
corners, strategy. We're having a blast.
Yeah.
So paddle's awesome. What else? I mean, do you have anything you want to? How about you talk about just like overarching themes of like what you've thought about Australia, the
Okay.
girls, the fashion.
Okay. Australia is home of the most beautiful, trendiest, likable, nice people. It's just everybody that walks by, they just look so important. They're stunning. No matter their age, their gender, they're beautiful beings.
I think Rachel belongs in Australia because it's so warm here.
It's so warm
It's
here.
tropical everywhere we go. Has palm trees. Everything's by the ocean. Everyone dresses nice. There's coffee shops everywhere,
Everywhere.
and people are dressed nice everywhere. There's no athleisure here.
No athleisure, and that's all I brought to travel in. I'm so out of place on the plane.
Rachel once a day goes, Why didn't I bring dresses?
When I bring my prom dress.
I should have.
I mean, somebody could be walking down the street in something like a prom dress and it'd be normal.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, she's got a presentation at work.
Yeah, she works in an
I
industry
mean,
that does
really,
that.
they are so ahead of the trends, which I've always followed a couple Australian like boutiques on Instagram just to see, but they were always opposite seasons. So never really bought anything. Now I need to. I need to buy my clothes ahead of season so I can be trendy like them. They're not afraid of color. We saw someone in yellow shoes yesterday. They really like that. They love colors. A trend I've been seeing is linens. A lot of linens.
Loose fitting too.
Loose fitting, yeah. The pants, for girls, I think I'm going to call them trousers.
Lady
They're wearing
trousers.
lady trousers. And they look comfortable. Why? It makes me think, why do I ever wear tight pants? Those aren't comfy.
Like constricting pants.
Yes.
We've been marketed to believe
They're
this
wearing
is comfy.
like linen material,
Baggy. Shorts and pants.
shorts and pants. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So in that way, yeah, Australia's been very awesome. And just visually getting
Yeah,
to see
yeah.
everything. We've seen some great beaches. Brisbane, one of the best cities I've ever been to. I've
It
been to a
really
lot of
is.
cities. Brisbane's a top 3 city I've ever been to.
Absolutely.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, we were like reading. We went to a bookstore that was lovely, of course. So we both got a book from there. That was sort of fun. And then we just went and read it at our books at this park in Brisbane near the river. And it was beautiful. It was,
Yeah.
there should be a painting of it. There were people playing Frisbee. Who does that? There was someone flying a kite. Who does that?
Ben Franklin.
People having picnics everywhere. Kids just playing with like parents from afar, which
Yeah.
in a big city, I don't really know if you can do that in America. It's just a
Yeah.
little bit more dangerous, it feels like. People just running, and it was just people having so much fun outside with their families. It was so wholesome. And that was like everywhere in Brisbane. And it was the middle of a big city.
Yeah, I think like 2.3 million people live in Brisbane, but it was just like everything's so safe. It feels like
Yeah.
there's no crime, there's no poverty.
We went to the koala sanctuary, and on the way back, we went to ride a bus back because
We're like, hey, let's
Let's
part of
just
the
try it.
experience.
Yeah.
Let's ride the public metro.
But we hadn't bought tickets, which you have to do somewhere at this like exchange office or something. So we were like, maybe we'll just get on, ask if we can buy a ticket on the bus. And so we got on the bus, and Jake was like, we don't have a ticket. Can we buy one here? And he was like, system's down. Get on. Free ride today.
I'm like, this is great. And then there were no seats, and I stood the whole way
Yes,
and
you
got
did.
a little bus sick.
Yep.
But that was fine.
It's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, what else is there to talk about? They love Coke Zero here. I don't know why I just thought
Oh,
of that.
they do.
And to be
They
honest,
do.
we're kind of liking it too.
Yeah.
It's good here.
Well, and I think I like it because I haven't had my emotional support water bottle with me as much.
Yeah.
Because I used it the first week and I haven't washed it, so I'm sort of scared to now. So the only water I get is when we buy water, which we're not buying that often. So I'm thirsty. And the Coke Zero's hitting the spot.
Coke Zero's hitting. They're not big. Let's just talk cultural differences. Not big on fountain drinks here. You can't find a fountain drink anywhere.
Yeah.
Free refills are not a thing.
Yep.
Brad could never live in Australia.
He
I mean,
couldn't.
just they don't. Everything's bottled or canned. It's a one-time use
Yep.
thing. And yeah, what are some of the other differences? Everything just like linguistically is just so slightly different that it's fun and it's still English, but like. We went to a cricket game tonight, and I saw inquiries spelled with an E.
Mm-hmm.
We went to that Melbourne Skydeck thing today. We've done so much. I mean,
Yeah.
we do a whole podcast of what we've done today. But we went to this observation, this VR walk the plank
Oh,
thing
it
today.
was so scary.
And they, to form they don't call them lines. Like you would form a line to order.
Yeah.
They call them queues.
Yep. Queue.
Yeah, just
Be a good Wordle word.
everything here is just slightly different. And so when it comes to comedy, it's exhausting because after that first show, you're just like, I didn't think it was so bad. And I was like, it really wasn't. I think they still laughed and they still had a good time. But I was so mentally exhausted afterwards because almost every joke, I was like, well, do they know that? Would this translate? I didn't think about that. It's my first show. And so you're just thinking through everything. And but yeah, it's interesting. And sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. After that show, and I was like, I don't know, this might be a tough 5 shows. We had so many people come up to us on the street who were like, oh my gosh, you performed tonight. You did amazing. That was so great. So many nice people. One of them, what was her name now? Camilla. She was a ghost. We talked to her for 10 minutes.
Yeah, and her family.
Yeah, they were awesome.
Oh, fashion.
They look
Camilla's
good.
family looked good.
And we talked to her for 10 minutes on the street, and she never mentioned she was a Ghostrunners fan.
Yeah.
That was cool.
They
That
were
was sort of-
so nice.
And then we went and met up with some friends. I know a guy who is part of the How Ridiculous YouTube channel. They're like the Dude Perfect of Australia, kind of. And anyway, he lives in Perth. Shout out Derek, his wife Nicole. They took us out to dinner.
So great.
We had duck liver parfait, and we met. They came to the show the next night. We got to see them afterwards, and they were so complimentary. Derek's parents were there. They were so nice.
Yeah, they were great.
While we're eating dinner after the show, a guy comes up behind me, and he's kind of standing there. He taps me on the shoulder, and I look at him, and then he just kind of stares for like a couple seconds. And I didn't know what was about to happen or what he was going to say. And I was like, maybe he works here. I don't know. And he was like, I just have to say, and obviously he had a really cool accent. I've just got to tell you guys, I'm a huge fan of both of you. And we're like, you know, both of us? He knew Derek. He knew me. And we're like, oh, that's so fun. He was at the show tonight. And we go to take a picture. And he's like, yeah, I was a top 1.1% of Ghostrunners listener. I was like, you're a huge Ghostrunners fan. And you just saw me in a restaurant in Perth, Australia. That's crazy. I was so, at that point, I became way more excited than he was.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. I think his name was Ryan. Was it Ryan?
I don't remember.
I think it was one of the only things I wrote down was whatever his name was.
He's a lovely young bloke.
Yes, lovely bloke. Yeah, Ryan in Perth. So shout out to you.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
And last night's show, Levi's birthday.
Oh, shout out Levi.
Yep.
In Melbourne, there were a ton of ghosties. Mm-hmm. I came down the steps to see another friend. I've randomly had a friend in each city, which I think Trey and Tom are like, of course, you know. But seriously, there's some SBU athletes. There was a soccer player and a basketball player that are from Australia, and they were here. But another long story short, I met a guy on a street in Hawaii in January of 2019. He was a nice guy. He also had a camera in his hand, had a little conversation. Fast forward 2 months, I go on a trip to Australia with Grant Huderberg, some friends, and I remember, oh yeah, I got this guy I met on the street, lives in Melbourne, I'm pretty sure. Our Airbnb's not working out. Like, I'll hit him up. He's a super nice guy. He lets us stay with he and his wife, and he was at the show last night. We got to see him.
Andre,
I go down
nice.
after the show, yeah, shout out Andre, to see him, and there's probably 9 different people wearing Ghostrunners merch in the lobby. I was like, you don't have this sometimes in Cleveland. There's not this many Ghostrunners fans. So yeah, it was awesome. I'll shut up now. Any other like cultural differences or, you know, fountain drink, language, not knowing where to look when you're crossing the street?
Oh my gosh, yeah. We walked very far down the downtown of Perth to like get to a coffee shop with Trey and Katie and Thomas and us two. And I think we'd crossed 6 intersections before we all realized we had not been looking the right way, and we definitely could have been hit to all 5 of us. Because it was like in America, you just like look right, nobody's coming, you can go. It was one of those where you can see nobody else is coming, but we realized we'd be looking left.
Yeah.
Didn't look left once.
Everything is very expensive. And I don't know if it's even very expensive, but maybe it's just this is what traveling is like when you don't have a car and you have to Uber everywhere and you're eating out all the time.
Yeah.
Because when we were in Hawaii still, which we haven't even talked anything about Hawaii, but we were there, I think I said to Rachel, I was like, you know what? We're not even doing that many shows for how long we're gone. I think the goal for us is just like, let's just try to break even. Let's just try and not lose money. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I mean, we're definitely not breaking even.
No.
It's just...
Everything costs money.
If you didn't know, everything costs money.
Absolutely everything costs money.
And some of these hotels and Airbnbs we're staying at, I think Trey is also just trying to break even because we're in some nice places. Mm-hmm. Stayed in some really nice Airbnbs. That hotel in Honolulu was on the beach. That was cool.
Yeah, that one was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really nice. So the first Airbnb we were supposed to stay at in Brisbane was also the coolest building I've ever been in.
Oh, it was Rachel's dream.
It was my dream because the air conditioning was out too.
Yeah.
It was so hot. It was awesome.
It was really
but nobody
warm.
else could handle that. So we got a new one that was a little bit weird, but oh man, the first one was cool. So yeah, just trying to break even.
Yeah.
What we're paying for right now is food and then any activity that we do and Uber.
Yeah. But I've also learned on this trip, I don't know if you've always done this, but I feel like I've been much more aware of it, that you don't finish anything. Is this how you always are? Or is it just an Australian thing?
I think my appetite is less now that I'm not in volleyball. I could eat so much during volleyball.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess now I just like coffee is, I think it's because I drink some things way too slow. So then by the time I've got a quarter of my coffee left, it's disgusting, and they don't have ice anywhere here. We're at home, I always put my coffee back in the fridge and then I put ice in it later.
And then you always finish it after that. Yeah.
You know me.
Yeah, we just the past like week or so, I've just been like keeping tallies. Like, have you finished anything in like 4 days? And
Yeah, and I'm keeping my word on this one from 2 days
look
ago.
at this. This is 2 days ago. I am drenched in sweat. We were playing paddle, and look at her go. And now she's finishing it. We didn't bring water. I am desperate for anything to drink, and of course I'm downing mine. I'm so thirsty. Rachel has this little. It's like a Gatorade if you're not watching. And I was like, you have to finish that. Rachel's like, of course I'm going to finish this. And it's been 2 days, and she just now finished on the podcast. So, woman of her word.
Yeah, I can finish things.
Yep.
Okay, but also, if I don't finish things in the United States, I'll bring it home, have leftovers for lunch the next day.
That's true. Not doing the leftovers.
Can't do that here.
Yeah, not really.
And I would call it takeaway if I was here. They don't call it takeout. They call it takeaway.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, you ask for can we get the check? Check. Bill, maybe invoice. Those are different words. That's what they call them here.
Garbage or trash is rubbish.
Rubbish. We like rubbish.
Yeah, I want to bring some of these back.
Brekkie is breakfast.
Yep.
Let's see. Footy is what they call their Australian football. Which I read somewhere online that I think they invented the selfie here because that's kind of how they talk. They like throwing like IEs on stuff. So makes sense. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? You want to talk about Hawaii at all? We did a mile that one day, and then you got a terrible fever for the 11-hour flight.
Yes.
That was a bummer.
No, it was mile.
Oh, wait. What did we call it that day? Remember we had a little rhyme.
Oh, snooze.
Snooze. Wait, was it poos next?
Yes.
Yeah, little morning
cruise.
snooze, little morning poo, and then cruise.
Cruise. That was our mile.
Our mile. Yeah, I don't know why we did that. Snooze, poos, and cruise. That's the plan
And
for
then
tomorrow.
it was the flus.
Yeah, and then you got the flus.
I got the flus.
I didn't even think about that till just now.
I didn't either.
Yeah. So whatever. We got done running.
It was such a lovely morning in Honolulu. I wish we would have had that full day there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, 2 of our last full days in Hawaii were very gray and rainy.
Yeah.
Which both times we were in multiple Ubers. Like, we hasn't done this in 2 years. That's awesome. That's cool that we're getting to see it. It was very rainy and very gray. And then that last morning there, before our flight, because we're like, hey, 11-hour flight. Let's get tired.
Yeah.
Let's run around.
Yep.
And it was
we went
beautiful.
on a run right up the
Sunrise
boardwalk
run.
by the beach.
Yeah. And then Rachel just kind of started feeling sick. And by the time we get to the airport, she's really not feeling well. And I was like, I'm going to go get you some, like, what was the goal? Crackers. I think was the goal.
Yeah. Just like things that, because we were going to run to an acai bowl place because that's been our thing this trip. Like that's what we have for breakfast.
I have been pooping up a storm. I'm having so many fruits every day. We probably, I tried to think of it last night as I was falling asleep. I think I've had 14.
Nuh-uh.
I think I've had 14 acai bowls.
Wow. I've had maybe 7.
Really?
Yeah.
I've been getting after
That's
it.
where all the money's going. Acai bowls. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that morning we were going to run to the acai bowl place and then walk back. But when we ran the mile there, and then I was like, I don't think I'm going to eat.
Yeah.
And then I walked across the street to a coffee shop, and the smell of coffee was like, I think I'm sick. I'm sick right now. So then we got back to the hotel, and yeah, I still had to, of course, pack my whole bag up and had to do that when I was not feeling well. And then we got to the airport, and it was just getting worse. And that's when we figured out I didn't have the pre-check. It was, and so I was going to have to stand in this long line when I was not feeling well.
You're right. That was a bummer. And then we were, what was it, Hawaiian Airlines? Mm-hmm. If you go far enough down to Hawaiian Airlines, these gates, all the flights are going to Korea. And so then all of the markets in the Honolulu airport become Korea. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I go to find Rachel crackers. And I mean, there's no crackers in sight. It's crazy. You can't find normal chips. You can't find normal crackers. I come back with, I think I found pretzels.
Yes.
And I found something, what was the brand? I love
corn nuts.
Corn nuts.
Right?
Well, I mean, the brand was called I Love Corn.
Yeah, there was a heart on it. Yeah, it was I Love Corn.
I love corn. I was like, I don't know if this is good when you're sick, but if you're from Iowa, I think it is.
Yep.
And Rachel didn't eat any corn on the flight.
No.
But eventually,
they saved me.
you did eat that corn.
Yeah.
You finished it
I
all.
did. I finished those. It was a nice snack. It's crunchy.
Yeah, poor Rachel, though. I mean, just pretty much the entirety of the 11-hour flight, she had a fever and was feeling awful and couldn't really sleep.
The fever hit when I sat down on the plane because it was just a stomach ache before. And then it was a fever when I got on the plane, and it stopped at the 11th hour of the plane ride. It was only for the plane.
We got 2 hours into it. I think that was maybe when you're at your worst because your head felt really hot to me. You were so cold. You were you used my blanket and your blanket.
It was so nice.
And you were
give me your
still
blanket.
shaking to the point where a woman next to us was like, "Is she okay?" Like, yeah, she's
good.
She had the vaccine.
Okay, I wasn't shaking like this. It was like when you have a fever and you're achy and just like, I think I just like can't sit still when I'm achy. It's like if I sit still, then I know it's achy. So I think I was just like squirming the whole time in there.
She okay?
And my head was resting on the like tray in front of me. That was the only way I could get comfortable because I also still had the stomach ache.
Meanwhile,
where it's like you just want to be crunched up.
I'm dominating a Texas Hold'em tournament on the screen in front of me. I'm playing against guys on the plane.
I mean, it really was ideal because you got the iPad for the whole flight.
Yeah,
but I did have your blanket.
Didn't have to share the iPad.
Oh, and then since it's a long flight, they pass out meals. And that is not what I wanted to be smelling during this.
What were the meals?
It was chicken and rice that you didn't get.
Oh, yeah, they were out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, we were like row 14.
Yeah.
I was like, you're already out
Everybody
of it?
must have picked it.
Yeah, they're like, oh, we have pork. And I said, have you heard of the Lone Star tick? I cannot have pork. So I was a hungry little boy on that flight. But I was fine.
Yeah.
I was suffering.
So yeah, that was just the whole time. So I couldn't really watch anything because I was dizzy. I could listen to podcasts. So I listened to about 7 Walk in Love podcasts that were downloaded and both of the Ghostrunners one from that week. And then that was it. Otherwise I just had to lay in silence in my pain.
That was rough. I'm sorry.
It was rough.
You know, when you were still feeling okay, you're like, you know what we should do? Let's take a picture every hour of the flight.
Yes.
And so we took one in hour 1. And then you were like hunched and looking and just feeling awful hour 2. So I was like, maybe she's asleep, so I'm not gonna wake her up. And so I still took a picture. I was like, I don't know if she wants me to document it. And then by hour 3, I was like, I don't think we're documenting this flight.
No
so
documenting.
We have hour 1 and 2 done.
But the flight attendant was really nice. Got me ibuprofen or Advil. I don't remember which one. Tylenol.
And I think that's probably what helped break it a little bit. I
Yeah,
feel like you got a couple of those in the system.
I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have that.
Yeah.
But we
Bummer.
made it.
We made it. We landed in Sydney. And I feel like getting to Sydney, that jet lag was not too bad for some reason. That was just like, it was normal. It was easy for us to go to bed around 10 or 11. We woke up normally.
Oh, yeah.
And then the next day, so after that 11-hour flight, you pretty much just go to bed, wake up, and then we had a 6-hour flight. And then once we got to Perth, I mean, when I think of Perth, I think of just a 3-day long headache. Because it was just, I could not, I think I was dehydrated.
You really went through it in Perth.
I mean, I didn't have a fever ever, so I don't want to complain
Yeah,
too much.
but like you adapting to the environment was worse than me.
Oh, yeah, compared to like our jet lag.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason it was way harder. Because Perth is 14 hours ahead of Central Time. So that's a full like flip, really, of like circadian rhythm. And yeah, that was tough. But Perth, the sun never goes down in Perth. At 5 a.m., the sun comes out like it's a solar eclipse. It is the brightest sun you've ever seen. Like, I think all of us universally, that first morning, because Trey talked about this too, like, you wake up and you see how bright, you're like, oh, good. Hey, I slept in. Yeah. And then you're like, it's 5:15. How is it this bright?
It was weird.
How do the birds sleep? It was, so yeah, the sun is just out the whole time in Perth. We should talk about the flight. Actually, real quick, let's pause for a little VulcanSportingGoods.com.
Oh.
Yep. Got little Vulcan ad read. They've always been so good to Brad and I. Shout out Dusty, who works there and listens to Ghostrunners. Obviously, you guys know I got a whole thing going with Friday Pickleball, but I'll have you know, just yesterday, me and the Friday boys are talking, and we're like, "Hey, should we make pickleball bags? What do we want ours to look like?" I didn't even know we had a Vulcan ad read today, so this wasn't like I did this so I could say this. But I was texting the guys when they were talking about bags. I was like, "Just FYI, I know via the Vulcan ad reads we do that their bag is the most popular bag in pickleball. It's the V Pro." Bag, and I was like, and I sent a picture of it to the guys, and I was just like, just FYI, I know this is the most popular one in pickleball, so maybe it would be smart to do something similar to this because people obviously like it. So there you go. Friday Pickleball. Hey, we're not making bags yet. You need something to hold your paddles in. Get you or somebody else a little Vulcan bag. Obviously get paddles as well. I think you're going to start selling balls soon. I've heard some rumors. Might be the official ball of the PPA next year.
Oh.
I know you guys care about that. So they have the largest paddle line in pickleball, over 50 paddles and colorways, which I think you'd probably like that.
I would love that. Are they from Australia?
Love the love the options. Does anything come in linen? They have a ton of accessories, nets, everything. So It's the official paddle of the PPA Pro Tour. Vulcan Pickleball. Look good, play better. GRKC will get you 20% off. VulcanSportingGoods.com. All right. The night was Friday, I believe. We are in the green room of the Honolulu show, and we're all kind of gearing up. We're like, hey, 11-hour flight tomorrow. How are we all feeling? What are we thinking about it? And then we start talking about time and space. And it's got to be one of the dumbest things that, thank goodness no one recorded that, because I don't want to tell you guys what happened. So let's kind of hash it out and then let them kind of come to a conclusion, and we'll tell them the answer.
Okay.
So we were trying to figure out like the time and the sun. The sun was really what we were trying to figure out in this conversation, because we were leaving Hawaii at noon and the flight took 11 hours. And we were going to be landing in Sydney the next day at like 6 p.m. So it was like...
We're flying west.
And we're flying west. So yeah, I'm starting to factor in like, well, the Earth rotates like west to east, because that's why the sun sets in the west. Think about the sun being stationary. The Earth rotates,
goes up
and so it like goes away.
Yep.
So that's why the sun sets in the west. Which, fast forward, we get 15 minutes in this conversation, and Katie Kennedy goes, does the sun always set in the west? And I kind of let her think out. She's like in Asia, where does the sun set then? Right then, Trey walks in the room. He's like, are you guys trying to decide where the sun sets? And I was like, I think just Katie's. I got a little, we were all so confused at certain points. And so we're like, all right, so the Earth is spinning underneath us and against us? Does that mean time will be different? And we also, you cross the international date line. We really try to figure out like, all right, obviously we're 11 hours in the air and we start at noon. So theoretically the sun should go down at some point, right? But then we're landing and the sun will still be out in Sydney. And after we all went around and talked about this for a little bit, I had come to the conclusion.
You were so stuck on this.
I was like, you know what? All right, guys, I think I got it.
You had Alan convinced for a bit also.
Yeah, Alan was also on my team. That we were going to see the sun set at one point. A really quick nighttime. And then we were going to see the sun rise. Mm-hmm. And then I was so used to like Northern Hemisphere, like it's winter for us, the sun's setting at 5 everywhere. I was like, well, 6 p.m. there, the sun will like have already set. So we will actually see a sunset again. So we're going to see 2 sunsets and 1 sunrise in an 11-hour flight. And Alan was on board.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
he was on board.
I think I could have rallied the votes if I needed to get a majority vote. I was like, that's what's going to happen. That's not what happened. Everyone feel free to think for yourself. What does happen? When does it get dark? And for how long? And how does this work? Answer is you get up there 38,000 feet, flying fast. It's just as bright as can be the whole time. Sun never even got close to setting. I don't know how that works. I guess just we flew towards the sun.
Yeah.
So it never went away. Mm-hmm. But we weren't flying west when we looked at the globe. Remember, we were flying pretty far south.
Yep.
Either way, it was a real mind bender.
It was. It was hard to listen to.
And you know what was annoying was we did get about 5 minutes in this conversation. I was like, let's just Google this. We're clearly not the first people to like do this. Maybe we were. No, there's no answers on Google. No one knows a thing about it.
I did find one and I showed everybody and it was exactly what happened.
I don't remember.
But it was like Reddit from 2003. So it was
like, well,
like, wow.
The Earth has changed. Like climate change. So I mean, that's not the same sun that we're used to.
It was. I still don't understand it, but I was confused about the 2 sunrise.
Yeah,
2
I was
sunsets.
like, guys, get ready for
Then
2
it's gonna
sunsets.
pop back up. We went. In your mind, we were going through 48 hours.
Yeah.
In our 11-hour flight.
It was going to be like those planets in Interstellar where it's like, well, a day there is a year's here.
Yeah.
It's way different. Yeah, I don't know what I thought. I was at my all-time dumbest. It's so confusing. We needed, because at one point I was using like salt shakers and stuff. I was like, we need visuals for this.
Yeah,
and
we wanted a visual.
we needed a flashlight to be the sun. It was an all-time green room moment. But let's see. Questions for you. What's it like? You get an experience tour life. Obviously, it's normally not like this, but you're getting to see the same show. On nights we're doing shows, you're getting to see, tour managers, you're getting to see Alan, you're getting to see, different theaters and stuff. What's it like?
Oh, it's glamorous.
It's showbiz.
The green rooms are the nicest places. They are the coldest places on earth, that's for sure.
Yes, I always pack so many sweatshirts.
Yeah, I need to bring my jean jacket everywhere. Tour manager, great to interact with. He takes his job seriously. I appreciate that. He's opening up a bit. That's been fun to see.
Yeah.
Alan is a blast. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I love Alan.
Yeah. He's so fun and paddle and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been really fun. He's hilarious. Tour life is it's kind of what you described it, but I think it's more fun than the normal weekends because like Katie and Thomas are here. I'm here. I think it's just like a bigger crew probably makes it more fun.
Yeah,
I think I'm seeing the really romanticized, glamorous side of it.
That's true. I mean, yeah, we're never ever spending 3 days in tropical places between shows. This is pretty different. Thank goodness it's summer here.
Yeah.
Like if we were doing all this in the winter, I think it'd be like, get me out of Perth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's summer. It's too bad like Michael and Isaac couldn't be here because we would just be laughing constantly.
I wish.
Yeah, you're liking it?
Yeah, I like it. I like seeing the shows every night. I go out in the crowd and watch it. And I told you that I was laughing.
Yeah, I was like, Rachel's like, great show. I was like, sorry you had to see like the same jokes again. Rachel's like, I had fun tonight. I was like, what? She's like, I was laughing. I think you were laughing. And yeah, you're really nice.
Recording, crowd work. And
yeah, I've been doing every night. I've just done more and more Australia jokes to the point where by the time we get to New Zealand, I might just do 30 minutes worth of just, Australia, New Zealand jokes. But yeah, I was like having Rachel record. I was like, maybe I'll post a little clip for the Australian people to enjoy. And so Rachel, as soon as they get off stage, just FYI, I was experimenting with some. When you get your phone back, I was experimenting with some different framing, a different composition. Like they're not all good. Okay.
I needed the feedback.
Yeah, really got it.
Begging for the feedback.
The show we did last night in Melbourne. So after the Perth show, I mean, we were like, holy cow, they don't make noise here. They don't do anything. They're just quiet and respectful. We're just going to really have to power through the next few shows. And then the Brisbane show 3 days later, it's in a tent, a beautiful outdoor tent, but still not the acoustics you probably want for a comedy show. But that got a little better. That was pretty fun. That's when I really tried a ton of Australia jokes. They were loving those. Had some good crowd work. And then last night we were in this like really cool, like the size of a comedy club, but the shape of a theater, like very like slanted seating, low ceiling still. And that went better than a lot of my United States shows. I felt
that
like
was a great
they
show.
were loving it. It was a Tuesday night. I don't know what got into them in Melbourne, but I was so comfortable on stage. I was doing weird like physical humor and picking on people in the crowd, and it was a blast. It was really fun. And yeah, there were so many ghosties there last night, and yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, tour life is fun. I mean, I just wake up, get some coffee, eat an acai bowl, walk around, do some things.
Yeah, you got it made right now because you're pretty. I mean, you don't really have.
I did have to do 2 classes on Zoom. One was at 5 a.m. in Perth. Had to give a presentation, and then the other one was 8 a.m. yesterday. And now I'm done with classes.
Yeah. So
I did some work.
Yeah, so you've done stuff. You've had some responsibilities, which is tough for me. I'm trying to figure out like, all right, we're here for work kind of, but this is mainly a vacation, especially for Rachel. And so it's like, I want you to get to do everything you want to do. You want to go to Chris's Market? Let's go to Chris's Market.
Let's go to the Chris's
You want to
Market.
see the lights? Let's go see the lights. But it's also like, there's so much going on back home. Yeah. I have to do some work. I have to post things. I have to
We've done a better job in
respond
Melbourne
to things.
of like you work and I just go walk around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just go sit in the business district and look at outfits.
Yeah, our first week in Australia, I feel like I got nothing done back home. I was letting everybody down. I just haven't responded to anything, but getting a lot more done now and still getting to see things. And yeah.
Yeah, it's been fun. Fun little routine here. What are you being weird about?
I was just seeing if you would fill the silence.
I will. And that's one thing that I always have to tell myself not to on my watching myself counseling videos.
Something I want to talk about that I wrote down, which feel free to bring up anything that you've written down as well that you want to talk about. But we did the road to Hana in Maui. I'd been to Maui once before, and Maui's a good like 3-day trip, and then like go to Kauai and spend a month there. But road to Hana is a great like full day activity, and so we did that. I made reservations for this black sand beach because we didn't do that last time, and it was really fun. Black sand beach is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's what you think it is.
Real cool.
But still neat.
Not soft. but
Oh
cool.
yeah, a little it's coarse.
Yes, of course.
But we found a little hike off the beaten path in this black sand beach, and we're going down it. We're kind of the trailblazers. We're kind of the first people going down
Yeah.
this, and then
Yeah,
a lot of people are following us. It's
Of
this
course.
cool lookout spot where these powerful waves are crashing into the rock, and they're shooting up, and everything's black, and it's just cool, and it's really fun. And in the midst of that, there's probably about 10 other people. There's some families, some solo adventurers there, and Rachel sees like a good size, like a large sea turtle in the water, but I mean hundreds of feet away from us, but she does spot one.
It's beautiful.
What do you do about it?
Guys, there's a turtle over here.
Guys. Turtle, guys. Just, I've never seen Rachel talk to strangers like this, much less address a crowd of strangers who, I mean, they weren't looking at her. They didn't, like, she did not have their attention before. Guys, turtle. Their reaction was to just completely ignore her.
Nobody reacted. They might have turned around and walked back.
It was great. You were just so randomly so.
Are you guys that cool that you're used to seeing turtles?
I know you guys would kill for a turtle.
I better not see you out on the beach watching them come in from the waves each night.
That is fun. We did that one night, didn't we?
Yeah, that was very fun.
We walked to the beach and saw the sea turtles come up.
Yep.
That was fun. Just doing best friend stuff.
Just doing best friend stuff.
Just watch turtles. Rachel and I have been doing a lot of best friend stuff.
Yeah,
we just
that's
hang
our
out
thing.
constantly here.
We just goof constantly.
Just goofing all the time, and it's it's fun. It's a lot better than a honeymoon. I mean, the first 2 hours in Maui, we were like, this is way better than a honeymoon.
Oh, my flight with Ken and Lynette was better than the honeymoon. Just kidding.
So yeah, it was really fun.
Oh, it's been so fun. Hawaii was awesome. I need to what word am I looking for? Validate how all the statements you and Brad have said about Brooke and TJ and the Beth Keys.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Lovely people. Absolutely lovely. I adore them. Yeah, they're so nice. And their houses are so great and their kids are so cute and fun. I just love it. Yeah, they were very great hosts and hostesses and very thankful for that time in Maui.
You'd never been to Hawaii before?
Nope.
What'd you think?
It was awesome. I want my whole family to go. And your whole family. Our whole family.
Got to go to Kauai. Kauai's so much better.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
And I think when we were in Hawaii, we did have an acai bowl every single day.
Yes, we did.
That was awesome.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of food trucks, a lot of chickens, a lot of
Yep.
chickens running around.
Yep. Really good food in Hawaii. Sometimes weird food in Australia.
Yeah, Rachel's been, I mean, when Rachel got to
It's
Hawaii,
my fault.
she was big on like, my goal while I'm in Hawaii is I'm going to do things. How did you word it? Like,
I'm going to do Hawaiian things.
I'm not going to be an American, like Iowa Rachel. I'm going to do the Hawaiian version of what I would normally do.
Yep.
Like mainly when it comes to food. And so, yeah, she was a little more adventurous, which you're already a pretty adventurous eater.
Yep.
But you were like, normally I would get the shrimp taco with the whatever. But today we're going to do the pineapple version of that.
That's normally what I would get.
Okay,
Yep.
well, I don't know.
It's a lot of meat switches.
Meat switches. Talk to me about meat switches.
Like, okay, normally I get a shrimp taco.
It's like when you beat your kid with a strip of bacon.
no,
Meat switch.
No, that's not that. Like maybe in Hawaii, I would have been absolutely down to have done like a luau type of thing and eaten a pig like that.
Oh, you would have eaten a pig.
Well, like normally I don't order pork in Hawaii. If the meal was like, that is the appropriate way to eat this meal in Hawaii, I would have had that. Wow. If that makes sense.
To know you were down to eat a whole pig. But Rachel's adventurism has also come down under. And
It has, unfortunately.
because, yeah, we're going to a lot of just like different restaurants. You don't really know what this place is known for. It seems like they don't do a lot. Like America has really good food. Now that you're down here, you could tell like America
really
does Italian
does.
well. They do Mexican well. They do Chinese. You can go anywhere. And like here, it's like Mexican's really hard to come by. American food's really hard to come by. Like they
Yep.
really only do like Asian food here. Well, and so we keep going to Asian places, and Rachel is rolling the dice.
I don't know why. I do it to myself every time.
Yeah, Rachel gets something she can't even pronounce. She just has to point at it, and then she's shocked when it tastes like dirty water.
And then I don't eat it all. I will admit to that.
Which I'm just scanning the menu for any like words that are chicken or fried or rice, and I get things that are deep fried. We went to an authentic Cantonese place, our first place in Melbourne. That was a wild experience.
That was awful. It truly was awful.
Who does have good meat though?
Good Ranchers.
Good job.
Thank you.
.com.
.com, of course.
American Meat Delivered. Hey, you know what we were just talking about? when we get home, let's get a little holiday ham.
Absolutely. Luau.
Let's bring the luau back to us. Get a free holiday ham right now with Good Ranchers with every subscription. So subscribe to any box, any of them. Doesn't even have to be a ham box. Doesn't have to be a meat switch box. Doesn't have to be a
Meat switch.
pork box. It could be a ham box though. Subscribe to any box and use the code GRKC to get a free 10-pound ham.
Woo.
An holiday ham. It's worth $99 in your first box. That's pretty fun. Free hams.
Free hams.
Free ham bong. So that's fun. Good Ranchers heritage hams are pork done the right way. We all know the wrong way to do pork.
We're not going to do it.
I don't want to talk about it. They do it the right way. Okay, so maybe your family is like very traditional. They do the turkey at Thanksgiving. Give them a ham on Christmas. They deserve ham.
Yep.
Get it now. Hurry and get some Christmas ham. Free ham. Any box. So subscribe. Get it now at GRKC. Get a little discount. GoodRanchers.com.
Go ham.
Let's go ham. Hey, yeah, go ham. Unless you're Jewish. And then you would go, what?
Don't.
The meat switch. The Jews love to meat switch.
Okay.
What's it called? How they, what's it?
Kosher?
Kosher. I can't want to say capiche.
Jeez.
Go ham, capiche? Kosher is what they're called. Anyway, holiday ham.
Holiday ham.
Anything you want to talk about?
Oh, man. We've talked about Leroy.
Oh, Leroy.
Leroy.
Okay, Perth. Okay, so this is, we're now, sorry, I mean, did you expect anything else? We were jumping around everywhere, but we were in Perth, amazing Airbnb. This was when I was like, I think Trey's trying to break even too. The Airbnb was awesome. The area we were in was awesome. It was a great street. We walked up and down that street. There was one day in Perth, we walked 6 miles, I think.
Yeah, we walked so far.
And I did it in my Hokas.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel got me a little early Christmas present to run the turkey trot in Iowa. And anything noteworthy to say about the turkey trot? We could talk about that now. I don't know. We all beat our times from last year.
Yeah, I didn't.
Really?
Wait, yes, I did. I didn't beat it from 2 years ago.
It was miserable once again. The wind chill was 14 when we started.
Yep.
But Rachel got me some Hokas, which have been great. And in this Perth Airbnb across from it was just a beautiful, just open field. I think they play cricket on it.
Did a couple workouts there.
They do soccer, football on it. And we would do workouts there. And it was great. Rachel scheduled a nice little
awesome.
interval workout for us. We would run like a 16th of a mile, 25 push-ups. Another 16th of a mile, 25 squats. Another 16th of a mile, abs. It was fun.
Doing best friend stuff?
Just best friend stuff. And running on that grass in the Hokas. Oh, I loved it.
You're sprinting.
I was running. Running like a newborn animal.
Newborn.
You ever see like a lizard get born and they just sprint?
Oh, no. Isn't there a video of like, I think it's a mammal, it's born and instantly it has to run for its life.
I wonder what mammal that would be.
I don't remember. Deer, maybe? Something like that.
Really? I feel like they're the ones who are so
I know,
like,
you're right. It is.
Flimsy whimsy.
This might not be a video.
I think reptiles are the ones I'm thinking. Like they hatch.
That could be it.
They come out of the sand and then snakes are waiting to prey on them.
Yeah.
Lizard.
Yep.
The Australians would have a word for the deer. They would call it wibsy bibsly or something. Everything's cute here. All the words are cute. But Leroy. So the park across the street is awesome. The Airbnb is awesome. It's so nice. There's one day Rachel and I are walking past the driveway, kind of a long driveway, and right past the neighbors, and we hear this barking. Like, oh, that's kind of a scary dog. Mm-hmm. Really vicious barking. And then we get to see the face of this dog barking because he scales the 9-foot fence next to it. I don't know what the dog was doing on the other side to jump up here, but he's like jumping and climbing, and his paws are on the other side of the fence, and he's like, rawr, rawr.
The scariest bark and dog ever.
Yeah, it's 11:45 in a hotel, so I don't want to fully do the bark.
Times 20.
But it's scary. It's like what the dog at Sandlot was made out to be.
Yes.
It's like before you see, it's like, oh, it's kind of a nice normal dog.
Yes.
It's like, it was so terrifying. And you could see his teeth. You could see, he is like trying to eat us, but the fence is in the way.
Uh-huh.
But also, I mean, in that moment, you're like, oh my gosh, he just scaled a 9-foot fence. What else is he capable of?
He can get over.
I froze.
Yeah.
We
both did. We were...
It's like, I think don't show fear, but should we run away? I mean,
and that Airbnb, like if we needed to run back to the house, had a weird locking
lock.
system.
We were stuck. I would have said, take me. Rachel, you go run.
And I had those shoes on that hurt my feet.
Just eat me, Leroy. So yeah, we learned because he would do this and you could hear the order, Leroy,
Get back here.
Leroy.
And it was just like no discipline. Leroy.
And so the next 2.5 days, we were terrified to walk in and out of there. We'd walk so
You'd
slow.
have to tiptoe.
Yeah, the good thing I had the Hokas.
Because he did bark one more time when we all went and did that workout again.
Yeah, so Trey and Katie got to see Leroy, which was funny. And yeah.
Oh, it was scary.
He was just a bad dog because anytime we'd walk by the house, you could hear him barking inside the house.
Yep.
He was barking at all times.
Worst dog to have.
Bummer of a dog. All right, that's Leroy. Anything else you want to say? Obviously, we've still got the Wednesday episode.
Yep, we still got Wednesday episode.
I'm going to do a review of the week, and then you find one last thing to end us with.
Okay.
How about that?
Yep.
Oh, wow, this is fun. The title of this review says, if you read this on the pod, I get extra credit. Wow, fun. Well, hey, Dawson, you're welcome, bucko. This is the best pod ever. I'm from Traverse City, and I know the I'm Down boys. I had a school project to find a review for something and show why it's persuasive. My teacher said, if you guys read this on the pod, I get extra credit. I love the pod. I hope you guys had a great time in Hawaii. Dawson, here's your extra credit. Mrs. Professor, he's probably in college. Professor Charlotte?
First name.
Give Dawson extra credit. I don't know why. Dawson Blodgett. So, thank you, Doss. Appreciate it. Rachel, you went in this episode with a story?
Ew. Jake ate pink dumplings.
Yeah, our first night in Brisbane, we walked down to this little strip mall and everybody went to a burger place. I was like, I'll go find something else. No big deal. And went to a dumpling spot. Been throwing back the dumplings this trip. A lot of good chicken dumplings and ordered chicken ones. And when they brought them out, they were flesh colored.
Ooh, I've got one more thing.
They were pink. And I had one. I was like, Rachel, you might like them. She had half of one.
It was so bad.
Like, I can't eat any more of that.
And then unappetizing.
I ate 10 more of them. So I've just kind of been, I'm turning into my dad and my grandpa, where it's just like,
gonna eat it.
I'm hungry, just eat it. It doesn't need to be amazing. Just eat the ring bologna. I'm definitely turning into them. So what other thing were you saying?
It's actually two. Your Fruit Loops at the coffee shop.
Ooh, the artisan Fruit Loops. Yes, I put that on my story, but yeah, they were
sorry, I forgot about that.
Great.
And the word ain't.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fresh. We got done with the Perth show. We're walking the street because it's just summertime here. We're spending so much time outdoors. It's just awesome in Australia. It's fun. We stole a season of summer or a month of summer back. We got to switch out, season switch, winter for summer for a month, and we're just walking around. We're getting gelato, and there's all these, of course, nice Australian people there. And we've had multiple people be like, "I love your accent." Sorry, a little burp. You can tell the story. Sorry, it happened to you.
Oh, it happened to us. Yeah, we call him a nice young bloke. That's what they call young men around here. He loved our accent, so we were just talking to him, and he asked us to say a word, I think, and then I was like, I should ask him to say one of our words.
Because we asked him, let's hear your American accent.
And he did fine.
Yeah. And then we were talking about, we're still trying to get used to the words around here. And
the only word I could think of that was American, I was like, can you say ain't?
Got very demanding. I was like, say ain't. Say ain't one time. Can you just say ain't? And then there's ain't. Ah.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
Yeah, because what's the Australian accent for that? Ain't. Still sounds like it.
We say auntie. Yeah. How is your Australian accent? I think it's got to be getting better.
Oh,
being
how
down
is
here.
it? How do you think, Jake? So there's some rubbish over there.
Rubbish. I was toss it in the rubbish, yeah?
Tossing the rubbish here. I need a nappy.
Nappy, I've got something on my face.
Some more face.
Yeah. Australia's awesome. Hawaii's awesome. We will be back. Let's see, when did this come out? The 18th. So even when this comes out, we're still down here. And
Down under.
Our one day in all of December that we'll sleep in our house is December 21st. So it's coming up.
Day.
And it's going to be great. Brad and I will knock out some episodes that day. And
I'm gonna cook so much that day. I'm not gonna eat out.
We are going to just be
again.
so American. Let's go get some cheeseburgers. I'll even eat one.
All right.
Well, why not?
I'll roast the pig.
Meat switch. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed Rachel. Be nice to her in the comments. Not that you'd be anything other, but just
Ken, if you're out there in the comments, Please apologize.
if you found this podcast somehow, I don't even know what to say
Type
to
the
them.
bird noise so everybody can understand what that's like.
Make a video, post it in the Facebook group. Yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday with me and Rachel again. Woo. Cool. See you guys.
Ghostrunners podcast. Every